Welcome back to Old Dude's Garage. This time around, I'm not stuck in the garage. We're actually out in the field hunting, archery hunting whitetail. This year, me and three buddies got drawn to go archery hunt at Richland Creek Wildlife Management Area, northeast part of Texas. Now, since this is a draw hunt in the state of Texas, the first thing you have to do is meet up in the morning and go through orientation, and you get to meet all the other hunters, and then they assign you a compartment. Now, the compartment signing is not random. You get to give them your three top choices, and we chose compartment 11 because Mike likes to be far away from everybody. So this was our first year to ever hunt this place, and it has some really nice hardwoods, lots of thick forest, which is really different for four guys from dry desert of West Texas. Compartment 11 has a really nice paved road right up into the beginning of it. And then pretty much you better have some four-wheelers or side-by-sides because it's a rough compartment. It's got a lot of water. This year it had a lot of standing water that we were having to drive in and out of every day. But it was kind of remote, and we thought it was the best chance to see some good deer. After that 3-mile drive on pavement, we had about a total of a 5-mile drive on just dirt, 2 tracks, depending on which stand we were going to. And so this made for some early mornings and some late evenings every day of the hunt.
Not so bad, huh?
Not so bad. And it's got that deal you can flip over your head, Joey.
So
if you're worried about it.
You can't fall.
Yeah, on your under your arms.
We got Joey set up first, and then me, and then Chris, and then Mike, because Mike likes to be the furthest one back in there. But Chris got set up and sat in his blind and immediately saw deer. And that was the end of day one. The second morning was cold, probably the coldest morning of the hunt. So this is me in my setup. And I'm in my tripod back in some brush, and I'm overlooking this marshy area, which is that dark green area right there. It's about a foot of water all the way across that. You can't walk across it. We rode the four-wheelers across it, but the deer loved it. They got out in it all the time. Got to see a lot of deer. So this morning was, like I said, it was cold. And I did have a shot at a really nice buck. He came out about 10 seconds, came around. I'll show you that track here in a minute. But I did get a shot at him right about where this little spike is standing here. 22 yards. He jumped the string, and I hit him right in the right rear quarter. So that was kind of a frustrating morning, and he was a nice deer. I'd love to have had him on the wall. So at this Trinity unit, we could kill either just one deer, either a buck or a doe. So, I held out. I had a lot of doe. As you see here, they were always in there with their young ones. And I had a lot of opportunities. Never really even thought about it because I was waiting on that big buck that came in. I saw the little spike, and they came in. They were pretty, every day they were in here walking around me, so it made it really interesting to sit and watch. Now, the reason they have such nice bucks at this place is they have a lot of rules on what you can shoot if it has horns. And yes, you can shoot a spike, but any buck you see that forks has to be outside the ears, which makes it more of a challenge. But again, the bucks get a chance to get large. So here's kind of the path the buck took. He came out right here to my left at about 10 yards, went out there, made a big circle, and came around. It stayed about 20 yards out and went right out in front of me. And I drew back about here, and I got him to stop right about that tree, and I missed him. That's just the downside of bow hunting. It did make for an exciting morning and got the blood pumping, which is what it's all about. So this is the thing that really makes getting out in the field fun. I think I was in this squirrel's tree, and he was really mad at me, so he was barking and squealing. I'll be quiet now so you can listen. At the bank of the Trinity River. There's nothing crossing this anywhere near here. This is the bank of the Trinity River. And when it floods, all this plastic bottle crap that you see glistening in the forest across there floods up here. It's friggin' disgusting. And hundreds of volleyballs for some reason. Every day after the morning hunt, we would scout around looking for any sign of that buck that I hit, but we never did find any. And every day that I sat, I always had little does coming in, and older does coming in and moving around me. No, I didn't know it, but that spot where that bigger buck came out of was kind of a trail for bucks. It wasn't very worn down, and it wasn't really noticeable when I sat there. I didn't even take notice of it. Actually, there's a little waterway back behind me. I didn't think anything would come through here, but he came out of there, and this little 8-point came out of there. This 8-point just stood and tried to wait and see what was going on around. Maybe he smelled me. Maybe he was just not too anxious to step out into that clearing. But he hung around probably 45 minutes to an hour, just eating, milling around out in this clearing in front of him and in front of me. I sure would have been nice if that bigger buck had done the same thing. This is a nice little 8-point. Probably would have shot him if he'd have been on any of the lease that I was on, but he's not quite outside his ears, so I didn't want to take a chance on killing a deer that didn't measure up to the standards of this unit, because I do want to be able to come back. Now, I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but this gives you a good idea of how patient deer are. This buck stood here for a good 5-10 minutes, barely even moving, just turning his head a little bit and looking at things. He was, again, just checking things out. He did finally make his way out into the clearing, and I watched him again for another 30 minutes and videotaped him a little bit, just trying to make him bigger than he was. I kept thinking, okay, he's outside his ears. He's probably 14 and a half inches. But no, it never was. I even, picked my bow up, got his attention a little bit. He was a really nice looking buck, but just not big enough for killing on this place. There's a couple of still shots that I took of him just to look at when I get back home and decide if he really was big enough or not. Still trying. He eventually did make his way back out the same way he came, just wandered off. It was a nice encounter. And then just to wrap up the third day, I had a beautiful sunset with some doe walking around out in this marsh. I didn't really expect any deer to be out in that. It's about, like I said, about a foot deep water. But they were out there almost every morning, every evening, just, I guess, eating the greens and drinking a little bit of the water. Maybe trying to stay away from the mosquitoes, which were really horrendous, just terrible. Now, the fourth day of hunting, I had more of the same. The does came in, moved around, had a little spike come through. Didn't see another buck, but I did have this funny little raccoon that just came out, and he just sat along out here in the clearing eating. And I was thinking, well, we could kill fur-bearing animals, but he was just too cute to take a shot at. And he's about 40 yards right here where he's sitting. But he did make his way up to about 30, maybe 25. But anyway, it's nice to be able to sit out and watch the animals. Now, our hunt was December 4th to December 8th, and really you get 4 days hunting, because you don't get to hunt the first morning because of orientation, and you don't get to hunt the final evening because they close everything down at noon, and they want to make sure everybody's off the place and safe. But I put these slides in here, just wanted to show you that there were deer constantly moving all day long and all night. Chris had a couple of cameras out, and the deer just stayed up all night and moved around where he was hunting. And he had some nice deer coming in too. And then they were coming out midday. We'd see them in midday sitting out there. So it's really kind of a crapshoot as to what you're going to see when you're out bow hunting. Chris was the only one of us that actually sat in the ground blind. Sometimes it really bothers a deer, other times it doesn't, but it does give you a little bit of freedom. Your movement's easier to conceal, maybe your scent's a little easier. And Chris had deer 20 yards coming in the very first day all the way through the end. So ground blinds are definitely the way to go if you practice shooting at them, because they are different than shooting off a tripod. And that pretty much finished up our hunt. That Friday morning we hunted till about 9:30, then started loading up all of our, taking down our blinds and getting them strapped to the four-wheelers and the side-by-side, and then trying to get back out. Now, one thing I did notice is the water level never really changed in the 4 days we were there. This water just is standing water, and we drove in and out of it. And it got, by the end of that third day, it was pretty tough on the four-wheelers just to even get through. But it would be really tough to hunt this unit without having the four-wheelers and the side-by-side. Yeah, what are friends for? I thought these guys were going to stop and talk to me here as we made our way out, and they just drove right on by and kept going, left me standing there. Getting all the equipment loaded up on the trailers, a little bit like playing Tetris with two four-wheelers and a side-by-side, 3 tripods, and a Mike's giant tree stand along with Chris's ground blind. But it's like I said, playing Tetris. You just kind of get them where they fit. If you watch here, Joey's loading this four-wheeler on the trailer coming up sideways, and the back tires come off the ramp and just hang up. So it took us a little bit to get that untangled, get the rest of it loaded up, but nobody was hurt, so it worked out okay.
We got this going on YouTube now.
Where are we at? What happened? You slid off to the side. You missed. I need four-wheel drive, don't I? Yeah.
You didn't have four-wheel drive?
Good grief. Get back up on the ramp and I'll take it out. Put it on four-wheel drive. Okay. You put it in four. Got it? Watch out. This time we're going four-wheel drive. I can't believe you didn't have. You need low four-wheel drive. That's what I had last time. Is that right? I mean, is that where you want those ramps or what?
Thankfully, the second attempt was more successful. So anyway, that wraps up our hunt. I just wanted to say thanks for watching. If you liked what you see, you're interested in seeing more, just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll be posting up a couple more hunts that we did this year as soon as I get a chance through the holidays here. I really do appreciate you watching. Comment below if you see anything that maybe we could have done different, or you feel different about. Thanks again, and hope all of you find some friends to go share the great outdoors with.